What's happening, guys? Welcome back to another video. I'm still currently out here in Dubai. As you can probably tell, the background's a little bit different. I did try and get the view in for you, but the lighting was just all messing out. So you can just look at a nice air conditioning switch and some mad pattern behind me. So today's video is a video that I do get asked quite a lot. It's how to trade oil and how to trade it correctly. I've also got a live trade that we're going to look at, and I'm going to look at the reason why I entered on that particular contract. One thing with oil, and the one thing you do need to understand is, especially when I trade oil, I'm only ever entering oil when there is a massive news catalyst behind it. Okay, it's not something I day trade on a daily basis, and I certainly don't day trade it either. It's something that I look to try and swing and hold for a few days. Okay, so the way that you need to trade oil is all done on news. Okay, now I've said this many a times before. It's the exact same with stocks, exact same with indices, exact same with FX pairs. Understanding news and what it means and the severity of news is the most important thing for me with trading. You can put your trade on, you can do everything else. That's the easy part. The hard part is, for me, understanding what that news means for what contract and how important is that news, okay? So we're gonna look at an article here that, first of all, made me enter in oil in the first place. Now we're going to do it on my phone because it's a lot easier out here to do it. I've also got the trade on my phone that we're going to look at as well. The headline reads, Israeli container ship targeted in missile attack. You're probably asking what relevance is that to oil, because it was actually a cargo ship, I think, that got hit in the first place. So we're just going to read on a little bit down the article. It is the latest in a string of Israeli and Iranian vessel incidents that have appearance of covert sabotage operations. Israel and Iran have both denied attacking each other's merchant shipping, but US intelligence officials have described a coordinated Israeli effort to target Iranian tankers and a parallel campaign by Iran to attack vessels for political objectives. Again, this is massive news, okay? Now, I'm not saying that this doesn't happen a lot, because these guys seem to be attacking each other every couple of weeks. And the reason why I bought oil at this particular point, I'm very, very logical when I invest in anything and I trade anything. When you have something like this, where you have missile attacks on containers or cargo or oil or whatever it is between Israel and Iran, these guys are massive players in the oil sector, okay? And what happens is that companies out in Iran and Israel and all around that particular area, out here in Dubai, in Saudi Arabia, when things like this start to happen, big companies, big oil companies, and all the big boys out here, Saudi Aramco, out here in Dubai, they will start to shut up shop, and they will potentially stop supplying oil around that particular area if it's a volatile area. And we've seen it many times before. They shut off the Straits of Hormuz a few times. We've seen big oil tanker ships not leaving the docks because it's too dangerous. And why am I saying all this? The reason why I'm saying all this is, to trade oil, you need to understand that it's traded on supply and demand. It's very, very simple, okay? When you have missile attacks and tensions and wars going on between two countries, and your primary objective is to deliver oil through that war zone or through that area of volatility, you can understand why they're not going to want to do that, okay? And when you work on supply and demand, and when you trade something like oil, when they stop supplying oil and they shut up shop and they stay in their ports or whatever else, the price of oil naturally rises because it's supply versus demand. When you have too much of something, too much supply, the price comes down. When you have a very limited supply of something, the price goes up. Very simple to understand. It's the same with all walks of life, okay? So when there's a war zone going on, or there's missiles going here, there and everywhere, if I'm a captain of that boat, there's no way that I'm driving a shipping container full of oil, basically a bomb, through a war zone to deliver it to wherever it's got to go. So naturally, if no one's supplying any oil, and again, we know the US are big oil suppliers and whatever else, but the big boys in terms of oil, we know why, oil money and everything else. Out here in Saudi Arabia, Iran, all of these countries, if they stop supplying oil all of a sudden, then we have a big problem, because the demand for oil continues to rise and stays the same. but no one's supplying it around this area or around that particular area. And we're not talking small suppliers. They supply millions and millions of barrels per day. So you take that off the market all of a sudden, you can understand that when you take that supply away, demand's still rising, the price has to naturally increase. Another factor, the freight cost itself. Actually deliver these cargo ships goes up. So if they're demanding more money to deliver ships because of volatility and everything else, the only way to offset that is through raising the price of oil. So there's another factor. Here's another article that I was looking at as well. Firms start rerouting vessels as ship blocking, I don't know how to say this word, Suez Canal could take weeks to free. So I don't know if you guys have seen this. This is a big news article. Basically, a giant cargo ship has blocked off a canal that is a route that the big oil tankers and all the shipping containers and whatever else take to deliver oil. So when you block that off, it's not just a case of like a motorway or whatever else where you can just put some cones around it and we'll all drive around it. It's, I don't know how big it is, but it's blocked off the whole canal. So these big ships now have to now start rerouting and coming back round because this could take up to 3 weeks. So again, the supply could be effective for 3 weeks. I'm not saying that I'm going to swing this for 3 weeks because I'm going to lock in profits along the way. But this is another factor that we need to take into consideration. And just another article here, Saudi Arabia says drone attack on oil terminal sparked fire. So it's all really sort of kicking off over in this side of the world. We're getting now drone attacks on Saudi Arabia's oil terminals. You're getting Israel and Iran fighting with each other. It says here, so a projectile attack on a petroleum products distribution terminal in Jizan resulted in a fire in one of the terminal tanks. So again, another reason, attacks on oil supplies. When you start attacking oil supplies, the supply comes down, the demand stays the same, exact same principle. So let's actually look at the trade that I'm in currently. So as you can see, I'm currently in oil. I come in quite low at the bottom. We had a nice spike down to 57.50. And then I kind of entered as we broke back above 57.50. And we started to push on throughout the day, and now coming into the following day with another missile attack on Saudi Arabia, we're now starting to see some quite considerable spikes in the oil price. So as you can see, when I swing positions, I'm always locking in profits because with oil, it's very volatile. Anything can happen with oil. So it could spike up 1 minute on some news and it could spike down on the next. As I said, I don't day trade oil. I only trade it when news comes out, and it's such a news driven contract. You need to be on top of the news regarding oil if you're looking to trade it. So that will be OPEC meetings, anything to do with Saudi Arabia. We have weekly crude oil inventories that comes out weekly. It's a difficult contract to trade, hence why I don't do it a lot. However, I do like to swing it when big news comes out like this and I feel like I can capitalize on it. But yeah, guys, this is the trade, this is the swing. I've locked in 115 points, which is £5,775. I'm going to keep moving my stop up, so I'm going to stay about 100 points behind. And if it stops me out, it stops me out. But at least I'm locking in profits along the way. And that's how I like to swing trade properly. Okay? So yeah, guys, I hope that helps. A little bit of a different video. And again, trading oil is so important that you understand the news and what it means for any particular contract, and most importantly, the severity of what it means. Is it something you can trade and swing, or is it something that you're going to scalp? Or, you know, this is the important things that you need to understand when trading oil and any other contract. Okay, so listen, guys, I hope that helps. I've got a day in the life coming out as well out here, so that should be loads of fun, a little bit different for you. If you're not already, follow me on Instagram. That's LockstockTom, and the website is www.lockstocktrading.com. As I said, I hope it helps. I hope you're all having a lovely time back in England, and I'll see you all very, very soon. Cheers, guys.